Hey everybody,
Ta-da!
welcome to Britpops React. You and me, BP1 and BP2. We got some novelty British crap on our heads today.
Just in case you didn't know.
Why not? Why not? So we got Britain versus America, groceries, cost comparison.
Yes.
Quite apt, it being probably November by the time this one goes out.
Yeah.
2022.
We'll all be eating out by then.
Yeah, it's going to be all tinned beans and soups from now on, I think, is all we can afford. But it'd be interesting to see the different costs between Britain and America's groceries. And hopefully, you know, you'll learn something as well. Why not? Let's just crack on with it. It's a 12-minute video. We'll try and talk over it. We'll see how we go with it. Let's take this off before it ruins my head. Oh, let's bring them down. Right.
Just before we start, one thing I have noticed that hasn't gone up, McDonald's still get a Happy Meal for $1.99, mate. So all else goes to...
Is that all you're on at the moment?
It will be soon, mate.
Happy Meals all round. Weekly cost £15.
Yes.
And 7 toys. Keep yourself entertained at the same time.
Right.
Not that we're endorsing anyone. Right, okay, let's just
move it on.
Can I say bog? Bog standard. So I'm currently standing here at a bog standard British supermarket. That is a Sainsbury's, the local edition, because this is a place where a large percentage of the British people are currently going to buy their groceries. And with the cost of inflation on the rise...
Well, let's stop him immediately.
Well, I won't talk over him much, but what, really? Sainsbury's?
Well, I mean, you've got lots of different mainstream things, but Sainsbury's local. So, you know, if you go into the big ones, the prices are normally fairly okay. Now, the locals are there for convenience in small little areas, so they tend to put the prices up a little bit, don't they, in these locals. Anyway, we'll keep going.
With the cost of literally all goods going up more and more and more, I wanted to see what is the cost of an average shop at your local store in the UK, and possibly compare it to how our friends across the pond in America are currently doing with their grocery shops. So, without further ado,
he's American,
let's get some food.
That's what I thought.
So I am finally back.
I hope he got some clothes as well.
With a meal deal.
It comes in a Morrison's bag.
A reusable bag from Morrison's because I care about the environment. So today we're going to be looking at, like I said, the difference in price between the standard groceries you can get in the UK versus the US. Having grown up in the US and spending, to this point, the majority of my life there, I'm pretty well aware of what prices things normally are. And from my experience, I always felt like it was always more expensive to just buy groceries than it was to get a takeaway or a delivery or something like that.
Oh, really?
But hey, depends on what you're getting, and I think the data will speak for itself pretty much. And if you are new here, hi, my name is Evan Edinger, an American-born British YouTuber who likes to make videos on interesting things. Also, he has a master's degree in actuarial science. I'm saying this because it explains my love for mathematics. Today's video is quite mathy. Let's dive on in. Also, if you like this style of content, please be sure to give that
see us two just glaze over then.
So, groceries. In order to make this as fair as possible, I looked at 2 different stores in the US and 2 different shops in the UK, trying to make it as uniform as possible. I also made sure that certain items were judged by the price per kilogram as opposed to just the price. So that way, of course, if something was 550 grams and something was 300 grams, we can actually see the overall cost per kilogram and see which one was more expensive. Also, using Google Spreadsheets' automatic conversion algorithms, I was able to make an entire column just for Americans to understand everything in the dollar value, and also everything in pounds for Brits. Now in the UK corner, we're looking at a Sainsbury's / Tesco, because I believe these are pretty middle-of-the-line shops. And also, they're all over the entirety of the UK. In the US, we're looking at an Acme / ShopRite. And if you're American going, I've never heard of those, I'm fairly certain there aren't any fully national grocery food chains in the States. There might have some that are like taking up a huge majority of the West Coast or East Coast, like Safeway or Trader Joe's and whatnot. But I'm using my Jersey heritage. So we're going with ShopRite and Acme. All right, I split this up into a couple different sections. For the standard groceries, we got fruit and veg, and then we got some meats and other things like that. In the UK, you can expect to spend about £1.20 for your standard loaf, no fancy, no seeds of bread.
£1.20.
In the US, the equivalent cost in dollars is $3.84, or in pounds, that's £3.32.
For bread?
That's a lot of money, isn't it? I'd be making my own bread if it was that sort of price. That's quite a lot of money, £3.
And what about when you get into like the whole meals and all those sort of things? Is it just bog standard white, tastes like nothing bread?
Well, he done this 3 weeks ago. I'm not sure what the dollar to the pound is. I know it's obviously the pound's come down quite a bit. It's starting to stabilise now, but you know, There's not much in it, but
that is a big difference.
7 times increase over the cost of a single loaf of bread for the same equivalent grammage in the UK. Grammage.
My
grandma bought this loaf of bread. It was 2.7 times more expensive back in her day. Porridge oats or oatmeal, standard kilogram box of porridge oats is going to cost you about £1.95 in the UK.
It's the proper Quakers,
In the US, that's
gone
£4.71, the equivalent of $5.45 for a kilogram of oatmeal. Yet again, we're over 2 times more expensive for this standard grocery. Next up, we've got cornflakes. These exist in both countries. No crazy cereals. No, we're not talking about any like Jolly Rancher or Sour Patch Kids cereal in the US. Standard cornflakes. In the UK, of course, if you want a big box of this terrible anti-masturbatory cereal, it's going to cost you £2. It's pretty standard. Okay. It's cornflakes. You're not paying much for cornflakes. In the US, it is £5.59. $6.46 for a box.
They're not.
Right, we're in the wrong game.
Well, they're not promoting sort of eating, normal food, are they? £6.50 or $6.59.
That's a lot of money for cornflakes, mate.
Yeah, I hope they're using hot water, hot milk and a bit of sugar. I mean, that'll improve the taste.
Wow, that's a lot of money, to be fair, for cornflakes. I mean, they do earn more in the US, don't they? They earn a lot more than us, though, don't they?
I mean, maybe that's why they just choose to do pancakes and stuff. I mean, that is a lot of money for a bit of cereal, isn't it?
I mean, you go through, what's that, about 4 bowls?
Not much. All right. Okay.
Box of cornflakes.
Yeah.
Cornflakes. This is one of those that I was like, is it really that expensive? And then I remembered, yes, I loved cereal growing up in the States, and I always expected to pay about $4.50 for a small box, or for the cornflakes, something like that size, about $6. So, I just didn't realize how much I was really saving on groceries living in the UK. On basic things. Moving on, we got 500 grams of rice. This one was actually quite close. Only 10% more expensive in the US. Still more expensive, but not as bad. 1.26 times more expensive in the States for the equivalent amount of butter. Moving on to 4 pints of whole milk. And if you're wondering,
I mean, they're putting security tags on butter now. It's that expensive.
The UK is an absolutely batshit measuring thing in which they go somewhat metric, and then they go back to imperial in a weird way, where instead of just saying a gallon or quarts or something like that, they just go with 4 pints. Might as well just say 8 cups. I don't know. Half
2.2
gallon.
liters.
Ring a bell, anyone? 2 quarts? I don't know. Either way, so the equivalent amount of milk, a standard thing that most people will pick up during their grocery shop, we're looking at £3.10 in the US. Yet again, more than double the UK amount of £1.45. Switching over to dollars, that's the equivalent of paying $1.68 for a half gallon of milk. So far, we've not really seen any big W's coming out the US, but that's about to change with cheddar cheese. 550 grams. No, actually, that's very close though. Only 16% more expensive in the States. So you could write that off as a little bit of variance. That's fine.
Well,
a dozen medium eggs, £2.30 for a standard dozen versus £3.02 in the States. So,
well, everything's cheaper over here in the UK. That's what we're seeing so far.
Yeah, you'd have thought, the size of the US and the amount of people there, you'd be getting everything cheaper because you're buying a lot more of it in the first place, wouldn't you? Or producing.
Yeah. Or is it to do with imports and outports? I mean, how much of the stuff's being imported into, how much stuff is actually being...
surely they've got their own chickens over there, mate.
Well, you would hope so, wouldn't you?
You haven't got to import those. I don't know.
Cows.
All right.
All right, interesting.
I mean, I was always under the impression that if you ate out in the, again, so if you're eating out in the US, it's cheaper to eat out than over here. You go, we'll go over to America and buy all your clothes over there cheaper and eat out cheaper than here. But buying in sounds expensive.
It is. It does seem quite expensive.
So for my standard dry good groceries, it looks like the UK is a resounding win with a significant decrease in the price of groceries. Now moving on to fresh fruit and veg. First up is an onion, or rather onions per kilogram. Per kilogram, you're looking at 85 pence for a kilogram of onions. Of course, they're cheap onions. Except in the States, you're looking at an equivalent of £3.79. We're looking at 4.46 times the price. Nearly 4.5 times more money for a bag.
That'll make you cry, won't it?
And it gets worse if you only want to buy a couple onions. I knew this because when I visited the States in February, I wanted to buy 1 onion for a dish, and it cost $1 for 1 onion. In the UK, that's the equivalent of buying a whole kilogram of them. It's crazy. And then, finally, we get our first W. USA. We win on the tomatoes, okay? We got some vine fresh tomatoes. The US pays 17% less. Hell yes. Now,
we haven't got any vines here.
This is a bit of an outlier because this is coming from a New Jersey location. And New Jersey is known for our Jersey fresh tomatoes. The best tomatoes you can get anywhere in the world. So you'd think because they're so incredibly good and delicious in the Garden State, they'd be more expensive. But no, everyone's growing them. We got them all over the place. So congrats.
Right.
We got cheaper tomatoes. Next up, Pink Lady apples.
Tomatoes.
The creme de la crêpe. Yes, another win for the US. 2% cheaper, but we will take our W's. Now, bananas per kilogram are 78 pence in the UK. You can buy them for, at this point, freaking 30 pence per. But I digress. For the US, it's not that bad. £1.12 is the equivalent amount, so only 1.5 times more expensive.
Alright.
I don't understand that one. Surely.
Where are we getting our bananas from? Surely they've got to be imported, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely. Our bananas are imported, but I thought they were imported from the US side anyway. South America, no? Bananas?
In pajamas?
Surely it's got to be closer there.
Yeah,
I don't know, mate. I'm surprised. I'm not expecting. I think, like you say, one thing so far cheaper.
Yeah.
In the UK, in the US. So I was surprised. I thought this was a lot closer gap between. I know there are differences in society as well. We pay different things with tax, and and I know average salary in the US. If I was to work in the US, I'd probably be earning a lot more money, stuff like that. So there's a lot of differences around that, but just the cost of actual goods. Yeah, I know would have employed me. So
all right, okay.
These are all starting to add up, and this one blew me away the most. A kilogram of carrots will set you back 45 pence, nearly 50 cents. However, in the US, that's equivalent. You're paying £1.88. Yet again, over 4 times the cost for carrots. And at this point, it's starting to get really freaky because the US, especially like California, has so many farms, huge swathes of land. We have so much more land. You can argue we have more people, and so therefore we have more demand.
Carrots are great.
But for some reason, I feel like something else is afoot here as well. Like, it just seems wild that all of this is more expensive, except of course the Jersey Fresh and the apples. Next up, standard raisins. Standard bag of raisins are 2 times more expensive in the US. A cucumber, 1.5 times more expensive.
I mean, they got vineyards over
there. Same thing for a can of chopped tomatoes, 1.5 times more expensive. A kilogram of potatoes are so cheap. A kilogram bag is 83 pence in the UK. The US is 3.5 times more expensive. We're looking at over $3 for a kilogram of potatoes. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, well, do you know what I would do? If I went to the US, obviously land is a lot cheaper in the US than it is in the UK.
Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah.
No, all I'm saying, grow your own, mate. Grow your own.
Oh,
why not?
No, I mean, I'm with you there.
Potatoes are simple to grow, aren't they? They're simple, aren't they? I don't make carrots, but I would certainly have a veggie patch, I think. These sort of prices is crazy.
Yeah. How do you grow tin tomatoes? Anyway.
Well,
I'll work on that one.
You put 50p ground. No, but
all right.
It's got to be transportation costs there, surely.
I'm quite. Yeah, I am quite surprised now. You'd have thought, especially things that sort of you can get locally, grow locally, or whatever, produce locally in America should be cheaper. All right, I'll take a wins
for this section of fresh fruit and veg. But now I think there might be a bit more perspective here on why there's so much processed foods in the U.S. Because if you can believe it, a lot of those are a lot cheaper than buying all of these fresh vegetables. Just buy a
corn
box,
dogs. I mean, they're
add a couple
fresh.
Things to it. Bon appetit. You save a bit of money, not as good for you. And finally, our last section here is going to be the meat of the video. The meat. Going into this, I really expected the UK
this has
to be
got
more
to be
expensive for
cheap,
meat.
surely.
Because God, is it expensive to buy standard mincemeat and chicken and such at the local stores. But mincemeat, holy crap, £1.69 for the UK equivalent weight, £5.99. Holy 3.5 times for meat. Wow. I don't know how much I'd eat meat if it was that expensive, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Chicken breasts, 650 grams.
And they're expensive anyway.
Expensive in the US.
I was going to say, they're expensive anyway,
so
chicken.
Considering mincemeat was that big. Smoked bacon, very close. Very close. Nearly 1 to 1. 250 versus 256. That can change depending on how far the pound has been dropping recently. So if we add all these up, the cost of your total grocery shop in the UK would be £48.88.
48 quid.
The US equivalent is £88.69.
Double.
Over $100 for a standard grocery shop, which blows me away. Back when I used to shop at Lidl all the time, I would marvel at how many things I'd shove in my cart and it would still come out to just about 20 quid. And I was like, hell yes. But Jesus, I just can't imagine a standard grocery shop being $100. Of course, this is just a couple samples taken. It's not like a sample across all of the US and all of the UK. And sure, if you're always used to paying 1.8 times what the UK is, you're not necessarily going to notice as big a difference. You don't have anything to compare it to necessarily while you've always been in the US. But sales tax is also a thing in quite a few states. 13 states actually charge their citizens tax on basic groceries. Tennessee charges 4%. So that $100 shop has an extra $4 tacked on top that you aren't really probably budgeting for, and then that adds up every single shop.
Wow. That's a lot of money.
All right. I was surprised at some of those, to be fair.
Because I mean, the price has gone up anyway. I mean, I mean,
I'll shop at the moment. Everything's gone up 10p, innit?
Yeah. I mean, for me, normally paid £120 a week, £120 a week for a family of 4, roughly speaking, and now that's sort of £150.
It's and everything's sort of getting another 10p.
Yeah, 150 quid a week, and then you maybe nip to the local stores, and you might pick up
which are more expensive,
which are more expensive, and you can add another 10-20 quid on top of that. And if you might want to take away or something, all of a sudden, these prices are crazy. So we cut backs, isn't it? That's what it's all about now. It's cutting back, trying to cook
Happy
fresh.
Meals. Happy
meals,
mate.
You're right. Feed the family.
Happy meals are the
Happy
future.
meal tonight, Dad. Happy meal for everybody.
Clues in the name, mate.
Oh, dearie me. All right. Well, I'm not sure how much further he's got.
Why have I just changed flannels? Oh, I must have changed my shirt location when I was changing my browsing location with today's video sponsor, NordVPN.
Oh, he's got a cheeky monkey.
Hey,
he's got sponsors.
He's got a sponsor in there. Well,
everybody
we're
loves NordVPN. All right. Cheers, Kurt.
Yeah, nice one. Kurt, but no, Evan. Evan, his real name. Well, there you go.
I mean, it was impressive. He put a lot of effort into that. I mean, if you are from the US and you totally disagree with that, let us know. We don't need to see the individual pricing on everything you bought, but we're taking his word for it. I mean, there you go.
Cheaper in the US. I mean, there you go. I thought it was a bit closer than that, if I'm perfectly honest. But like I say, if you've always been in the US, you're not going to know any different to us in the UK and how we live. So. Interesting. What did you think of that? Indeed. Let us know in the comments. Were you expecting that? Were you expecting to be closer like us? Don't know. Oh, any other suggestions out there as well? If you want to say, Britain versus America in this, because there are loads out there, loads of little things. But that was quite on topic for I think both countries
at the moment. Yeah,
before we go with that one.
Going. All right.
Join us tomorrow for another reaction by us.
Yeah, you, that one.
That's about you. Until then, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from him.
Ciao, Bella.
Indeed.
He's a 20th century boy.